Hi, I'm Maggie from the Incredible Seed Library and welcome to this short video to help you with saving open pollinated seeds. This is a general overview to consider seed saving in more depth. First of all, what are open pollinated seeds? They will grow into a specific variety of plant which will show slight variations. Genetic diversity is something that has evolved over the lifetime of the species, and there are many hidden genes that can help your plants in difficult conditions like drought, late frost, high temperatures, etc. And we just don't know how global warming is going to affect our gardens, so we want to maintain as much genetic diversity as possible. F1 hybrids are produced by crossing and often recrossing open pollinated varieties to obtain specific characteristics that the breeder wants, greatly reducing the genetic diversity. Frequently this is to crop all at the same time to enable the crop to be harvested by machine, and flavour is definitely not the highest priority in this process. F1 hybrids do not breed true to type. So how many mother plants do you need to save seed from? First of all, you need to save from as many as possible to ensure your genetic diversity. Start with many more than you want to finish up with, which allows for roguing and removal of seedlings and plants. Seedling stage, you need to rogue out any late germinating seeds and any seeds that do not grow true to type, that have 3 cotyledon leaves or possibly don't grow cleanly, maybe grow a bit yellow. The growing stage, rogue out any seedlings that do not show typical growth for the variety. Consider leaf colour and shape, as well as the shape of the plant. Flowering stage, rogue out any that flower early or bolt, very late, or that flower a different colour. In the fruiting stage, choose fruits that are typical of the variety and that taste great. Do the taste test. This is really important when we're growing our own food. Save from as many plants as you can, and always save from the best plants, roguing out the less perfect plants at each stage. Inbreeders will only need a minimum of 6 plants. Outbreeders will need many more mother plants. So what are inbreeders and outbreeders? Inbreeders are strongly self-pollinating, and we recommend that you start your seed saving from easy to save seeds. This would include French beans, peas, lettuce and tomatoes. Once you have some experience and understanding of the seed saving process, then you might want to move on to more complex crops like squashes, which need hand pollinating, or peppers that need isolation. Sometimes you will hear it recommended that if you are just saving for yourself, then you don't need to be as rigorous about the number of plants you save from. But here at the Incredible Seed Library, we recommend you save from as many plants as possible, whatever the variety, to maintain genetic diversity and avoid inbreeding depression. So some plants need to be isolated when they're flowering. Inbreeders, they mostly self-pollinate, and they're pretty strong self-pollinators. So peas, lettuce, tomatoes, French beans, they only need to be 1 metre or 2 apart, maybe 3 in the case of tomatoes, to ensure that they don't cross-pollinate. You can isolate physically by using a polytunnel or growing tall crops between species. Slightly less useful, but it still does the job. You can also use the plants in the centre of a block of plants to save seeds, so that the pollinators fly in from the outside. They start by pollinating the plants on the outside of the block, and then they fly to the inside of the block, and then they pollinate those seeds, therefore using the pollen from the plants on the outside of the block. So this will maintain clean pollination. You can also isolate by time. Some varieties crop earlier than others, and you can bring one crop on earlier with a propagator or a greenhouse. Squashes you need to look more carefully at because you need to hand pollinate these. Brassicas is a huge family, including a wide variety of different plants, and so you need to ensure that only one variety of brassica flowers anywhere near your plants at any time. Umbellifers and sweet corn are also a problem, and you can see that sweet corn actually needs to be isolated by 2 to 3 kilometres as it's wind pollinated. So mechanical isolation, bagging and caging techniques. This is really useful if you're growing more than one variety. So in the top left hand side you can see that these are pepper plants, and they have got the flowers bagged individually at the end of the stems. These bags are tied around the stem to make sure that no pollinators can get in, and therefore they will self-pollinate. On the right hand side you can see this is a similar thing, but the actual whole plant has been bagged. So the plant is grown in a large pot. There's a bag that goes right over the top of it, and it's held with elastic so that you can lift the elastic to water the plants, but they are then still completely isolated. Caging techniques are something that's usually done outside, and you can see on the bottom left hand side there's a large cage which is covered with fleece to stop any insects getting in. The only problem with using this technique can be if the plants need to be pollinated by insects. So, Latin names, they're really handy. You will find these on the Incredible Seed Library website to help you in this process. And you can see that there's first of all a plant family. Cucurbitaceae is the name of the cucumber family. The genus is Cucumis, and the species is Cucumis sativa. The variety in this case is miniature white. These are overripe cucumbers being kept aside for seed. Only plants of the same species will cross, but you will find that most cucumbers are Cucumis sativa, and therefore you need to isolate them in different greenhouses if you're growing more than one variety. Inbreeding depression can be a real problem when you're saving seeds, and it can start to happen in just 1 year, as genetic diversity will be reduced if you save seed from just 1 or 2 plants, and loss of vigour will become evident over a few years. Even in strong inbreeders, it's still worth saving seed from at least 6 plants, and better from 10. The more is always better when saving seeds. Outbreeding plants need a large population for seed saving. Don't save seeds from plants that bolt early. You want to save seed from plants that flower in the middle of the season rather than early or late. And biennials like onions sometimes flower in their first year. Rogue them out before the flowers open. You don't want to give them a chance to cross-pollinate. And don't forget, give everything the taste test to make sure that you like the taste of the particular varieties you're saving. Make sure that your seeds are completely ripe before harvesting. The pods of beans and peas should feel papery. Tomatoes should feel soft and slightly squidgy. Lettuce seed pods should be brown and dry with feathery parachutes on top. And peppers should be starting to slightly wrinkle. Really properly well-ripe fruits or well-dried pods before you start to save the seeds. So how large a population do you need to save seeds from? Well, this, as we've been saying, varies from variety to variety. And it also does vary slightly in terms of commercial and community standards. In commercial standards, they need to save from a large number of plants because they want to save the biggest genetic diversity. Community standards, this is impacted a bit by the size of your garden. So dwarf French beans, minimum of 40 plants in commercial terms. Dwarf French beans in community standards, 20 plants. But the Heritage Seed Library, if you ask for seeds from their library, will send you 10 seeds. So they consider that 10 seeds is enough for saving your genetic diversity. In terms of cucumbers, commercial seed production, 20 plants, and community standards, 6 plants. And the same is true of lettuce, peppers, both sweet and chili, and tomatoes. So Commercially, you've got about a 95% confidence of preserving the genetics required. But in community standards, you're going to get a pretty good result, but there is no guarantee that the rarest of traits will be preserved from generation to generation. Information on individual seed varieties can be found in the excellent book by Sue Stickland, Back Garden Seed Saving. The other thing about seeds is that if they're properly stored, they last a long time. So you can have 5 or 6 different varieties of beans and actually just grow one a year, so that you've always got the access to the seeds, but you don't actually have to grow them all every year. Well-stored seeds last a number of years, and good storage means drying the seeds well. Information on this can be found on the Incredible Seed Library website in the resources section. The one exception to this kind of severe drying of seeds is lettuce seeds, which don't respond well to being very heavily dried, and therefore they should be carefully extracted and air dried and then stored in a paper envelope or bag. Different varieties in different years can give you access to a large number of types of variety without having to grow them all the time. The major seed companies source all their seeds from all over the world, and this seed may well not be particularly suitable to grow in the local conditions that you have. Large seed companies import the majority of their seeds, but smaller seed companies actually tend to sell seeds that are grown in the UK. An example of this is the Wales Seed Hub, which represents a group of seed growers based in Wales, and all their seed has been grown in Wales and proven to do well in Wales. There are a number of small seed companies, and most of them source their seeds from inside the UK. Find out from your seed company before you buy. If you've saved seeds that you would like to send to us, then please email me for the address. The email is incredibleseedlibrary@gmail.com. We have a growing library of seed saving videos on our YouTube channel, and it's called Incredible Seed Library. And we have the new website, which has been developed in 2023, www.incredibleseedlibrary.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.